Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 283 of bulking to 75 kilos with calisthenics only, and today we have a push day. Now, I want to talk about something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with in calisthenics, which is progressions, When you go to the gym, it's easy to see or to measure certain progressions because all you have to do is put the pin one place down or, add some weight to the bar, and then you know how much more you're doing. But in calisthenics, it's a bit different, So when it comes to the planche, which I'm doing today, you have this planche lean, but depending on how much you lean, the difficulty differs, and then you have tuck planche and the advanced tuck planche, and then you have one-legged planche and straddle, and so on, right? And there is no clear, indication of how much more difficult one is compared to the other. And in fact, depending on how your body is just built, if you have long arms or big legs, or if you're tall or short, the difference in between all these progressions is gonna be different, right? But nonetheless, for you, there is gonna be a difference, right? Tuck planche is gonna be easier than advanced tuck. So you have these kind of gauges, right? These rough estimates of how difficult something is. And when you are struggling to go from one progression to another, you don't only have to progress by doing progressions. You can also progress in different ways, which is, for example, you can progress by adding a PET bottle, like a water bottle, into a backpack, putting it on your back, and then doing a tuck planche that way, adding like half a kilo or 2 kilos. You can gradually increase the difficulty of one progression. You can make progressions easier as well by using band assistance, right? And by combining all of these ways to progress, not only the progressions, but also weight added to your back or to your hips or to your feet, right? If you have a half-a-liter PET bottle and you're wearing a long jeans, I used to put half-liter PET bottles in there because then I would be able to add weight, right? And you can progress in that way as well. And if you combine all of those different ways, yes, it's a bit more work to think than just going to the gym and adding weight to the bar or something, but it's still possible, right? So if you are stuck going from one progression to the other, right? Think of yourself like, how can I make the hurdle to the next progression? How can I make it less, right? Can I do the next progression with some assistance? Can I do the current progression with some weights? And well, that's not even a question. The answer is yes. Yes, you can do that. So that's what I'm going to do today as well. I think I'm going to start off with just a normal bodyweight set of planche, like a combination. But afterwards, I might be doing some weighted stuff because just like Goku, if you train heavy, then you're going to feel light afterwards when you remove the weight. That's kind of what I'm going to be aiming for today because depending on how the first set goes, I'm really going to be able to know if the push-ups are getting easier for me, For me, these push-ups are still feeling kind of heavy, so if I do them even heavier, afterwards they're going to become lighter, I guess. Like, I can do push-ups, but they just don't have that snappy feeling yet, which, you get by training heavy. And yeah, that's going to be the first part of today's training. There's going to be 3 exercises, but I'll get to the other 2 once I'm done with the planche, right? So let's go. All right. Yeah, that's gonna be the next big challenge, to get 1 press in the planche after 5 seconds of hold and 5 push-ups. That's gonna be insanely difficult, but it's gonna be the gateway to getting 5 seconds of hold to 5 push-ups to 5 presses. This is gonna be one of the most important steps, and in order to get there, I have to first of all make these push-ups feel super light. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll put the timer for some rest here, and then in 4 minutes, I'm basically gonna do some sets here of push-ups. I'm gonna try holds in between. Not a lot of push-ups, just 1 or 2 reps probably, because I'm not gonna be able to do more, but hopefully if I do that for a while, a couple trainings, afterwards things are gonna feel a bit lighter, a bit more snappy, quick, which is very important when it comes to efficiency as well. What the fuck? Super sit. One more of these and then we can move on to something else. Fucking hell. Alright. That might not be enough volume today. Actually, let's do one more sit, one assisted sit. That's gonna add up some volume. Yeah. And then we can move on to the second exercise. Something you have to watch out with is if you are, going to a harder progression is, well, you're gonna be able to do less of it, And if you're able to do less, well, less volume, less adaptation to the movement, and it might not be enough volume anymore to actually get stronger. When I first unlocked my one-arm pull-up, I got the one-arm pull-up, very happy, and then I just stopped doing all of the training that got me to the one-arm pull-up, Before I was doing like sits with a bit of reps, 5 reps or something. I was doing holds of like 8 to 10 seconds, and then I got the one-arm pull-up, and then as soon as I got it, I stopped all of that training, and I just started, attempting one-arm pull-ups. And before I knew it, I wasn't progressing anymore, and I was actually getting weaker. So when you train for a new progression, also don't forget the basics that got you there, which is, of course, very important. So I'm gonna do one more set of assisted planche and then move on to the second exercise. Whew. All right. All right, so this is 60 kilos. As you can see, second exercise is dips. And basically, it's been 8 days since I did any dips. And even then, I only did 1 set. So today, there is only one goal. Do 1 set of dips and beat last time. Beat last time's PR of 22 reps with 60 kilos. Because if I can, improve some PRs on 1 set every 8 days, that is not a lot of energy spent on dips while still making progress, while still getting stronger, getting used to heavy weights on the chest. And, if you want to talk about efficiency, I think that's very efficient. So let's aim for 25 reps. Holy shit. Oh, fuck me. I always start shaking after these fucking dips. Alright, 26 reps, probably not the cleanest, but I'm satisfied. I'm gonna get this heavy steel off of me and move on to the next exercise. Okie dokie, boys and girls, so that's it for the dips, and with how that went, there might be 70 kilos on the cards next time, and there's a huge fucking bug right there. Anyway, 70 kilos, that's the maximum I can do in this training room because I don't have any more weight, so that's very exciting. 26 is a big PR, and only one set of dips, but very effective nonetheless. Now, I'm going to move on to some injury prevention exercises, which I did not count it in the beginning, but actually I'm going to do this exercise and then one more, which is going to be push-ups. And basically these injury prevention exercises, they make the body bulletproof because in the last couple of weeks, I've been getting stronger again at the planche. I've been doing more push-ups. I've been getting stronger at dips. All of these things are going up, but you have to be careful when you're getting stronger because there might be some small areas in your body that start to lag a bit behind. And if you don't treat it, if you don't make them stronger, that's going to lead to an injury eventually. Something similar happened with my hip, I was pistol squatting and I was getting a lot stronger, but my hip was not able to handle it and now I'm injured. So in order to prevent those things, you have to find the weak spot and then actually target it. So for me, weak spots in the planche is gonna be the forearm, and I'm gonna do lifts like this with the dumbbell, just like basically squeezing this muscle to make it stronger. And other than that, last time I noticed I was doing my push-ups and you're basically doing like this shoulder movement hundreds of times, I don't know if the body is designed for that, but I felt a little bit of not like an injury, not pain, but it was a little bit weird. So I figured I might as well make my shoulder bulletproof. You have these banded exercises that you can do. Not only are they good for push-ups, but they're also good for planche. So yeah, last time I was doing this injury prevention thing, it was only the forearms, but you can make it more and more and more efficient and basically do a little circuit for 2 rounds of a couple exercises that will, prevent you from getting injured. So let's go. Alright, time for some Japanese style push-ups. Decline, wide grip on the P-bars, very deep, and I'm gonna try and pay attention to extend my arms, not completely, but almost completely, and this is gonna fire up the chest. Now, as with any exercise, the objective is simple. Go a little bit further than last time, do a little bit more than last time. And that's very important, especially if you're a beginner, because let's say that you've never done any sports in your life, that means that today, any action you take, it's an improvement compared to yesterday. One push-up, and if you're not able to do that, one push-up on your knee, one push-up against the wall, one squat, one conscious action, to make an improvement and to start training. That's all it takes to do better than yesterday. And then tomorrow, you gotta beat the goal of that one push-up, that one squat, right? And you can try and do this over and over and over again. Eventually, you'll be doing lots of exercise, and sometimes you're gonna fail, sometimes you're gonna feel tired, or maybe you're not gonna feel up to the task, and you're gonna fail doing better than the day before, but that's okay, because as long as over a period of time, the net result is an increase from before, then you're making gains, which is what we're all looking for. So push-ups every minute on the minute, sets of 20. Last time I was able to do 11 sets. This time, well, let's aim for 12 at least. Fucking hell. Okay, so let's take a look at the crime scene, aka my chest. Because holy fuck, I am pumped to shit. Oh, I have like one thumbnail where I'm just looking jacked in the fucking window view here, but this time I might be besting last time I did it. So holy shit, yeah. Let's get a normal view as well. But I am feeling pumped as hell. I went, I think, until 16 sets and then I failed on set number 17. So better than last time, which is all I can ask for. But yeah, these ones are insanely difficult. And normally I would say after these EMOM push-ups, I do a few more longer sets usually, but today, I was feeling a bit tired in the planche already, like not fully recovered. So I think I might just skip it. And I'm not happy with that, but next time when I do a push day, I won't do any dips and then I can do way more push-ups in the end, So let's see how that plays out, but perhaps even a side chest is possible. I don't know, but I feel like the push-ups are starting to work. They're starting to do their jobs. But yeah, anyway, as for today's workout, progressions, And that's not only for skills. In calisthenics, you have to be creative for basically anything, You want to unlock a push-up, you want to unlock a planche, a squat, pistol squat, whatever the fuck it may be, you kind of have to be creative in the progressions and adding weight or using assistance to make appropriate steps for yourself. So for me, right now, one of the things I want to do is to have a better planche combo, but one of the progressions towards that planche combo to get the endurance, to feel light in the planche, is going to be an even heavier planche. And for you, you might be working on your push-ups, Perhaps you can add some weight to your push-ups, or perhaps you can use some assistance. Perhaps you can use an incline or even do push-ups against the wall. Or if our push-ups are too easy, start progressing to archers, and start progressing to the one-arm push-up. It's not going to be weight on a bar. It's not going to be measurable in exact numbers, but as long as you stay consistent, right? Stay consistent, train every week. You're going to make gains. So even though the progressions are not there in the numbers, they are there. And you just have to train long enough to really see them appear, I guess, because right now you might be stuck on that one progression, you might be stuck on the tuck planche, and you feel like you're not progressing, but keep in mind, even if you're not progressing physically, you're still progressing in your mind, you're still gaining experience, you're still, learning how to apply discipline, and eventually you're gonna keep doing that one progression, if you aim for PRs in that progression, there's gonna be this breakthrough, you know. You might not be able to get any progress on tuck planche holds. Well, then do some tuck planche push-ups, right? Or perhaps do some lean planche push-ups, lean planche presses. Do something different. Do perhaps an assisted advanced tuck planche, right? But take something, right? Take something different and try to progress in it. And eventually, you know, it's like I often mention, right? You throw something at the wall and you see if it sticks. If it sticks, you know, that means if you are progressing. If you are progressing, you keep using it. But if you're not, then you can do something different for a few weeks, see if that works. And that's how you progress, you know. You pick an exercise, you try to get good at it, and then once you stop having progress, you go to do something else. But yeah, that's it for today's training. Very happy with how it went. I can't even like fucking reach on the other side with my hands because my chest is so pumped. So I would say it's a definite success, and I'll see you tomorrow for a pull day.